and it is water.
Hey, Jessica, it looks like we're live. I'm
All
Suni
right.
Danforth, and welcome to our Restore Oregon Now Facebook Lives. It is Tuesday, December 21st. I am on the board of directors, and I'm so happy to be on our Tuesday Facebook Lives with Jessica Ballard, who is our state volunteer coordinator. And Jessica, how are you doing today?
Happy to be here. Very short notice, but happy to be here. So kind of fun changing it up and putting some new faces on for the week. So that's exciting.
Yes, it is. And, you know, it also allows people to see who else is behind, who else is involved, you know, with
Exactly.
our Restore Oregon Now and the team that's making things happen here. And so I'm excited to be here with you today. Well, listen, you had a very big event on this past Saturday that you went to. Would you tell everybody about it?
I will. Yeah, we had an awesome turnout for, I'm in Lynn County. So Albany is our little mall. It's not a lot, but it's what we have. And so I was really excited at the turnout we had. We sponsored a face free is what I'm calling it, a face free shopping trip. And we just kind of put it together and put a call to action. And we had between 50 and 75 people. We got a pretty good picture, and then we had quite a few people join us a little bit late. So we had a really good sized group, and we just met outside, had a little conversation, got to know each other a little bit, and then headed in and just did some Christmas shopping. And you know, as conservative as Lynn County is and says they are, we have a lot of face coverings still going on here. And so it was awesome to be able to go in as a group and be kind and considerate and smile at people and support local businesses. We really had a great experience. We went in, I think between all of our group, all of us in the group, we hit every single store in the mall.
Wow.
Awesome. Shout out to a little coffee shop that's there. They were fantastic. They're just past the food court, and I forget what their name is, but they were a great place. Super supportive. And yeah, we shopped in and out of everywhere. And we did not come across any difficulties whatsoever with any staff, with any employees, until we met for lunch. We decided, well, before I get to lunch, we did do one fun thing. We couldn't get all of us because we had dispersed by that point, and there were several groups, you know, all over the mall, but about 15 of us, I think maybe, met in the middle of the mall, and we did get our picture taken with Santa, which was really fun. It was sad that Santa was unable to take his mask off. We did ask him. We tried. I even bribed him with coffee because he told me that coffee was his favorite thing, and I was carrying a coffee. So I may have said, hey, I'll go buy you a coffee if you take your mask off for our picture.
You know,
And
isn't that a shame? Santa
it was
might have
sad.
lost his job, right?
Yeah. And which is pretty much what he said.
If he were to take his mask off. And
Yeah.
that's really a sad time, quite frankly, here in Oregon and other places in America that this is happening to. Santa can't
Yeah.
even take the mask down for a photo op.
To smile with
Wow.
all of the people that were unmasked crowded around him. I was scooched up right next to him. And yeah,
Was he
did
cool with all of
indicate
you? Was he
he
cool with
was
all of you?
fantastic. He was wonderful. And he did tell me how incredibly uncomfortable it is. He's, you know, with a suit and a beard
Oh, yeah.
and gloves and a mask to sit there all day long. You know, so God bless him for doing it anyway. But it
Yeah,
was
because
really
you know the kids still want to see Santa, even the big kids.
right.
You know,
Right. Exactly.
but the little kids want to come into the mall and have that experience. But you know
Right.
what? Santa doesn't wear a mask and shouldn't have to have one, and that's really a shame. I think that's so cool. You guys all piled on Santa and took a group picture.
It was really fun, and it was nice that they didn't require anybody to wear a mask. So I kind of stood back and watched, and all of the kids who came in, all the families who came in, nobody nobody had to be masked except for Santa and the employees, which was really sad. And honestly doesn't do any good for anybody.
No, it doesn't. No, it
Like,
doesn't.
what's the point?
Yeah.
So, but that was really fun. And then after we did Santa pictures, then we headed down to the food court, and we tried as a group of about 30 to order sandwiches at Big Town Hero there in the mall. And we were denied service for 30 people.
Wow.
And, you know, we remained very kind and considered. We tried to give a little bit of education to the owner. That's who we were speaking with. And, you know, she at one point said she was concerned about a OSHA fine, and we educated her a little bit on the, you know, that she's not going to get fined by having customers not wear a mask. And that really wasn't, it was definitely a personal choice. But I don't know how many times, I lost count of how many times she told us to move on, and that she did not want our business. And, you know, that was probably at least $300 worth of business.
Oh, sure. 30 of you
willing
at $10 a pop. You bet.
Right, exactly. So that was interesting. She did call security on us, and at the same time took out her sanitizing bottle and started spraying down all the surfaces that we were remotely close to, even though we didn't get to order anything. And, you know, nothing happened with security. Wow. Security came out and told us that Big Town Hero had asked them to ask us to leave the mall. And so we just let the security officer know that we would not be leaving the mall, and they had no authority to ask us to leave the mall, that we were shopping and we were going to eat lunch and continue shopping. And security said, okay, and left. And that was the end of that. So I know there was several people that posted about that incident with lunch, and several people got a response back from Big Town Hero. I'm assuming from the main franchisor, saying, you know, we're so sorry about that. We will be talking with them. And so that was Saturday. Today's Tuesday. My husband went in there today to see if he could get a lunch, and was again refused service. So nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
So
somebody's
in. But, you know, we had a great lunch at all of the other places. So it was no big deal. We walked 15 feet over to the next restaurant, and some people got pizza, some people got Mexican. Everybody that wanted to eat ate, and we finished our shopping and had a really great day. So it was wonderful.
I'll tell you, I think that's, I wish I could have gone with you guys, you know, and been a part of that over there. We don't have any malls here where I live. In fact, I have to go to Tri-Cities. That's over an hour drive away in Washington in order to actually hit a mall. But certainly we do maskless shopping around here. Absolutely. Right. And it is freeing when other people see you. And I'm sure you experience this at the mall, that they're wearing their mask, and when you don't have one on, some I've seen them take it off. I'm sure you saw that as well. Mm-hmm. And it's like we're giving them permission to, you know what, you don't have to wear that. There is no law that says you have to wear that, even though the government would like to make you think that there is a law, or that you're being inconsiderate if you don't. But I think this is a choice for anybody. And I'm not going to shame somebody. If they choose to wear one, that's okay, but that's your choice. And they shouldn't require the rest of us who choose not to wear one, in my opinion.
And a mask is a medical device. And so it's not lawful or legal for anyone to force somebody else to wear and use and implement a medical device. So I was in Safeway yesterday, and I mean, I always shop without a mask. But I did see somebody yesterday that saw me and took her mask off, tucked it in her pocket. So that's always encouraging.
Yes.
You know, but it's encouraging, I think, for groups, for people to see groups as well. Because I think, like you said, so many people don't believe in it, don't think it's necessary, don't think it's the right thing to do, but haven't really considered trying. like what's going to happen. And so
Right.
it's a great way to show people that you can go about your business and do what you need to do. And 9 times out of 10, nothing's gonna come of it. People are friendly. I had the great conversation with the gal at Target yesterday that was checking me out, just super sweet. We stood there and talked for probably 5 minutes at the check stand, and I didn't have a mask on, and it didn't faze her in the least.
Right.
So
It's
I would just
about being
encourage people to
respectful.
do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And being respectful, being nice. There is no reason to get an attitude with a business or the employees. Most of them are just doing their job. And as the employee, they've got to wear one as quite possibly, but as the customer, we don't. So, well, I'll tell you, that sounds like that was a lot of fun. And again, I wish I could have come with you all, but I wasn't able to. Hey, I like your sweatshirt.
Thank you. I like freedom.
I do too. Legalize
I think it
freedom.
should be legal.
So sit up a little bit so everybody can see that.
Ooh,
there we go.
Legalize
Freedom. I love that.
I wear this sweatshirt when I go to the airport, and I can't tell you, I've traveled several times over the last, more than normal actually, over the last 2 years. And I think I've worn this sweatshirt every time I've gone through the airports, and I have had more compliments on this sweatshirt in the airport than anywhere else, I think. So
yeah,
there's a lot more like-minded people and people who are questioning what's going on. And then we realize we just need people to start using their voices a little bit more.
Absolutely. Well, we've got some bad news today. Kate Brown has just extended her state of emergency to June of next year. I saw this on K2 News. It was posted in a place that I could see it, and it really is a shame that she has extending that through June of 2022. The declaration says in this article on K2 KATU that the declaration helps the state utilize resources while responding to the coronavirus pandemic. And I know I'm not a medical expert, but I think we're in the endemic portion of this, and we're going to continue having different variants and all of that. And it is, frankly, I believe this is highly illegal, what she's doing to try to keep Oregon under a state of emergency against the businesses, the citizens. And this will not end unless we stand up and do not comply.
Right.
When we all stand up together, this will end. And it's like you said, there's nobody was going to kick you out of the mall. And in other countries, we haven't seen it that I'm aware of here in the United States, but in other countries, it is getting quite extreme what the governments are trying to do, the large amount of oppression on people.
Yes. And we do not want it to get to that point. And, the interesting thing with us is that there's 45 other states, that don't have any of this, no mandatory anything.
No.
And so I have a hard time believing this is a nationwide pandemic when 95% of the country is business as usual. And so, and I think, I'm certainly not the only one who sees that.
Well, you're absolutely right. I was looking at an article a couple of days ago, and we are one of 4 or 5 states in the nation that has a indoor mask mandate. It used to be the outdoor mask mandate. We were only like one of the only state in the nation that had that, So this is where people need to know this is not the norm nationwide. This is our governor being a dictator. She's a very vindictive governor, in fact,
and hypocritical.
And hypocritical, she was just in DC, not wearing a mask and saying, oh no, I
Yep.
did. And, BS. I call
Yeah.
BS. It didn't happen. She
A
doesn't
picture's
wear a
worth a
mask.
thousand words.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of pictures.
yes, yes, there was. Well, listen, we have got tomorrow. Was there something else that you wanted to cover tonight as well?
What I wanted to lead into from that is, so what do we do about that? What's Restore Oregon's role in ending this?
Well,
who has authority to stop this besides individual citizens? How do we work together to stop this in Oregon?
This is where I was just having a conversation with a couple of people today before I even knew about this, about going to the county commissioners and talking to them saying, we have got to stop this and say, we're not going to comply, because with this state of emergency, is she going to say, oh, these businesses, you're essential again? Where's it going to go? Or just how far is she want to push this? I don't know. And I think it is up to us that we have to, in our cities and our counties, get resolutions passed and ordinances passed, or maybe not an ordinance, but it would be wonderful to have, but a resolution, and to push back against this, that we're not going to comply. We already have a number of cities and counties that have already done that. And I think people keep going, well, gosh, if I just comply with everything, pretty soon it's going to end. Well,
right
now here you are.
That's why we're where we're at.
It is.
This won't end because people keep complying.
Well, you're absolutely right there.
We're showing the government how easy we'll bend and obey.
Yeah.
And so of course they're going to keep pushing and making life worse and worse. So, we're not giving the government the idea that we aren't for any of this.
No. And we have to, everybody that is elected, the citizens put them there.
Right.
And we have to let them know that we're not happy with this, with what's going on at every level. And yes, so, part of the thing that we can do is that we can do to help, it takes to do the things that we're doing also takes money. And right now, at the end of this year, if you haven't donated $50 to a candidate or a campaign or to us, you are going to give that money to Kate Brown. And so right now, use it or lose it is the thing. And so I would ask you to go to restoreoregonnow.org, to our website, and donate $50. Don't give it to Kate Brown, give it to us. We could use the money. And
$50 per individual, $100 per joint file.
Correct. Thank you for that clarification. Mm-hmm. And because we've got things that we've got to do, and to spread the message, right, to doing the things that we are doing, it all takes money. Having Zoom, having the Facebook, and all of us are all volunteers, let alone
printing,
the
business cards,
the signs. There are things behind the scenes that people don't necessarily realize, that it does take money, and we could use money, because with that, there's more that we can do. There truly is more that we can do.
And I think it's important to just reiterate that every single person that holds a position with Restore Oregon is a volunteer.
Yes.
100% volunteer. So any funds that we receive are 100% used for our operations, for advertising, for getting, for empowering people to do what we have to do to stop this.
Also for lawyers, that
yes,
are working for us, and
who are writing resolutions.
Exactly. Yep. And what we want to do, and where we're heading with the things that we want to do in order to restore Oregon. This is it. We're trying to fight back, and having an event like the maskless shopping event, I just think is awesome. We
Yeah.
also have tomorrow night. I wanted to let everybody know that tomorrow night we're having a virtual Christmas party at
We are.
7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, a virtual Christmas party. And there's a link on our Facebook page that you can join with that, or not a link, but there's something that you can say you want to attend. I'm not on the techie end of all this stuff, so but
Yeah, if you're on our mailing list, you would have gotten an email with an invite. We are asking people to pre-register so we know how many people to expect in that. But if you're not on our mailing list yet, then one, get on our mailing list. And two, you can just go on the Facebook page and accept, and then I believe you'll get a invite that way. So you can join us. And we have some really fun stuff planned. And I also want to clarify that it is a Zoom party, not because we are afraid to get together. We love getting together. We get together all the time. But we are spread out across the entire state of Oregon. So the best way for us to get together and include as many people as we can is to do a Zoom party. So that's why we're doing Zoom party. But it's going to be fun. There's going to be some ugly sweaters and some games, and it's going to be really fun.
And a chance to have some camaraderie, because a lot of times we're only getting together for other things. Right. It's serious, it's business, and the effects of what's going on in Oregon, and like this set of bad news of Kate Brown. I want to remind people, she's the one who said revenge is served best cold and slow. And she is, in my opinion, she's not looking out for the citizens of Oregon, the businesses of Oregon, except of course those that are donating to her, even though she can't run again. Right. The Democrat Party, absolutely. So
it will be a nice time to get together and put that stuff aside, and
absolutely,
because it's important. It's hard. It's hard with what we're facing all the time. It's easy to feel hopeless. It's easy to sink back and feel like there's nothing we can do, and to feel depressed and anxious. And we need to be together. We need to have fun. We need to have breaks from what's going on. But with that, I would also say a lot of people are going to have some time off for the holidays, and we want you to enjoy your Christmas and your New Year's and your time with your family. But if you have time off and a little extra time on your hand, this is a great time to draft a few letters. Let your school boards know how you feel about your kids being masked and sitting outside or being separated for lunch. Let your city councilors and your county commissioners know how you feel about a permanent mask mandate. And it doesn't need to be a novel. It needs to be a few sentences, a paragraphs, because they need to hear from their constituents. We can't expect them to stand up for us if we don't tell them what our expectations are.
That's exactly right. They do need to hear from us, because if they're only hearing from the side that supports all of this, then they're not getting a balanced viewpoint. And it's so very important that they do hear from us that are not happy with all of this, but be respectful. No, don't need to cuss at them, just be respectful. And that actually carries a lot more weight, and they respect that as well, because we've elected them, but let's let them know what we would like to see moving forward. And thank you for that, Jessica. You're very just right on. If you can, after these holidays, if you can get to a city council meeting, school board meetings and county commissioner meetings, that really is, by being there, is how you can affect some change. Because here I live in a very small town. There's just about 7,000 people here. And I've been to many, many, many city council meetings that there's 2 people in the audience, 1 person in the audience, 2, 3. I was at one just a couple of weeks ago, the beginning of the month, and there were several there. And I went, oh, this is nice to see. It's nice to see, but there was a presentation, that's why.
Right.
So, but there many times people don't go to those, and maybe they're thinking someone else is, And then you show up and you find out there's nobody ever attends these things. So they just go off with whatever they want to do. Where if you attend and give input as what you would like and bring a friend with you, it's always good.
I think that's how a lot of things happen under our noses, because we're just assuming everything's running fine and going along. And then we're very surprised when some awful new rule or piece of legislation comes out, and it's hard to be surprised if you're not somewhat involved. Get involved, absolutely. You'll be less surprised, maybe.
Yeah, you have to be engaged to affect the change, and suit up and show up. As Ben says, sign it and send it. If you're
just gonna say, and then you got to sign it and send it.
Yeah.
Yep. Sign our petition. Send your petition. And the petition, let's talk about that for 1 sec before we sign off, because that's really the crux of what we're doing. Our Stand for Freedom petition is a citizen's petition to gather signatures and support within each city and county across the state. And those numbers can be presented at a city council meeting and at a city or a county commission meeting to show, hey, this is how many of your constituents support you supporting the Constitution and not supporting these lower mandates that have no bearing. And so that, that speaks volumes when you can go into a county commission meeting or city council and say, there's 5,000, 6,000 of your constituents who have signed this. And this is what we're expecting of you. So our petition is, you want to tell us, Cindy? Sorry, Cindy. Sunny.
It's okay. It's okay. So, but I also want to say this is a citizen's petition, so it doesn't have to be registered voters. This is for all citizens in Oregon. And you can go to Restore Oregon Now and then our Stand for Freedom page there, restoreoregonnow.org, and our website, and then go to Stand for Freedom. And there is our petition, a single liner or a 10 liner. And as you've got company coming and people are traveling around, download a 10-line petition and get your friends and family that are coming to visit you to sign it. This is
they're Oregonians.
That are Oregonians. Yes, we would like them to be Oregonians, but
yes,
you've got children, they can sign the petition. They are citizens of Oregon as well. And that's what this is, the voice of the citizens in our in your city, in our counties, and in our state. And we're doing this, part of why, to go back to what Jessica said with our virtual Christmas party, it's because we can connect with people all over our state that are involved. And that will be a lot of fun. But that our citizen petition, remember, it is again at restoreoregonnow.org. Go to Stand for Freedom there, and you can download the petition, print it out, and you can actually sign one online.
Yep, we have a QR code, and you can scan it and do a e-signature. And so that's an easy way to get other people also. And because it's a citizen's petition and not a state petition, it's not going to the Secretary of State. Like I said, these signatures and numbers are being used and broken down by every county and every city across the state to show representation for each city and each county. So sign it and send it.
Yes, sign it and send it. But also you can see how many signatures have been gathered virtually online or on paper, and it goes all the way down to the city that you're in. So you can look down and see just where you're at, where your county is or where your city is, how many people, because these are, and the reason that we're doing this, so if I want to go to my city council or go to the county commissioners or anybody, not just me, but anybody wants to do that is involved with us, and they say, you know what, we're going to go to a meeting and we want to talk about our freedoms and push back on the mask mandates and all, then Stand for Freedom, Restore Oregon Now will send an email to those people that are in your community or in your county. These are the numbers. You don't have to know who they are, but these are the numbers of the people. We'll notify them when that is, and ask them to, be prepared to speak if you can, write something out ahead of time, and be the support to affect the change that you want to see in your city and county.
Yeah.
know,
How great would it be to see hundreds of people at these meetings? I think we would see a much swifter change
I
if we
agree.
actually showed up.
I agree. And some have done this already, you know, but
Yeah.
clearly
Brownsville's
there's,
got a big meeting tonight.
I'm sorry, who does?
Brownsville's got a big meeting tonight.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't know that.
Yep. Probably
So
going on right now.
it takes us all working together to get this kind of thing done. And especially to push back against this state of emergency, you know, until June of 2022. And who knows what else she could do under this state of emergency. It's it's all about the money. Like, it's free money if we get it, you know, if
Right.
that Kate Brown wants. Well, you know, nothing is for free. There is no such thing as free money. It comes out of my pocket and your pocket and everybody else's pockets.
And perpetuating an emergency that doesn't exist is perpetuating fear and anxiety,
Yes.
and causing mental health issues and breaking families apart who won't be around each other. I mean, there's just so much negative coming from this. We don't need to live in a state of emergency. We need to live our lives, and we need to hug each other. People need to start hugging again, gathering, and, you know, no more COVID hugs. You know, people need to be hugged. It's been a long 2 years. Start hugging.
Oh yes.
I hug everybody. Sorry.
I do.
It's just like automatic response.
I'm a hugger.
I became a hugger.
So on that positive note,
yep.
You know, enjoy. I hope you all come to our virtual Christmas party. And if we don't see you, have a very Merry Christmas from everybody with Restore Oregon Now and Stand for Freedom. I feel that I can say and extend that to everybody to have a wonderful Christmas and have a Merry Christmas with your family and friends. And
let's make it a Happy New Year too.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you. And good night.
Thanks. Thank you, Sunny. Good night, everyone.